So I came to Rotorua with 5 other physios. We were all sent at the same time to start in November 1965. And that was the beginning of my love of rheumatology, really. I didn't know too much about it before. Everyone talks about arthritis, but I realised there's a lot more to arthritis than just aches and pains. I went to a party in the first week. The physios leaving, of course there were 6 bursars there who were leaving, moving on, and 6 bursars coming to take their place. So the 6 bursars leaving put on a party, as they apparently always did, for the incoming group. And I met my husband there. The very first week I was in Rotorua. So, although we didn't marry for a couple of years later, but that was where he was when I first met him anyhow. In those days, the accommodation was in the nurses' home at Queen Elizabeth alongside the lake, and that was quite a nice place to be. We had breakfast. We'd go over to the hospital for breakfast and then straight into the physio departments. In those days, there was a total staff of 15, and now they're struggling with 4. They've got 4 physios down there now, 4. Things have changed a lot, and the treatments there have changed. In those days, the physios would start the day by doing what they would call ward exercises, which would be bed exercises for all the patients. There were 2 large wards, and done in the Florence Nightingale scheme, about 30 in each. The physios would go up and down the ward calling out these series of exercises to take all the joints through full range of movement at the beginning of the day. And the ones who were more acute stayed flat, of course, and the physios went twice a day and put all their joints through full range passive movements. Treatments changed over the years, and that doesn't happen now. The drugs have been terrific, really, for people suffering from arthritis. In those days, people only had aspirin, and that was really, they got all sorts of side effects from taking 8, 10 aspirins a day, which was terrible. Those days that the physios weren't allowed to plan their own treatment. The treatment was written by the docs, and particularly the phys med doctor who was in charge of the physios overall. He would say what the physios would do. This person needed these exercises, this bit of traction and some pool exercise, etc., etc. That's how Queen Elizabeth physios got a bad name, really, that you're not allowed to think what you're doing, you're just being told what to do, you don't, and that, I could see that wasn't really, looking back, that was bad. And then there was not till, and in those days, the only people who went to the ward rounds were the assistant charges. There was assistant charge went to each ward round, and you gave your notes to that person, and that person relayed them to the doctor on the ward round. And then it wasn't until 1984 when Dr. Jerry Jones arrived from England, and he said that he was not having this. He wanted to talk to the person who was treating his patient. He didn't want it relayed through a second person. So things changed greatly then in 1984-ish. And by that time I worked there till 1969, and then left and went back in 84. So I'd noticed a big change from 69 to 84. I'd already and at that time there was the advent of TENS. TENS had had come, and that was new to me, and that was one of the first things I had to do. I had to go through a 2-week orientation program at the beginning of that time, and that was fine. And also over that time had been the real introduction of joint replacements, and I found that was something that was really amazing. We had some very good surgeons and got some very good results there in those early days with joint replacements. And then they extended from doing hips and knees, then they tried ankles at one time, which haven't been successful really, elbows, fingers.